you see a need for New Zealand to increase its aid to Ukraine in light of, I guess, the last week's events?
Look, we're not starting at shadows at this point in time. We're going to wait and see what it all means. We'll make our decisions in the fullness of time.
Are you going to get a better deal on the ferries?
Pardon?
Are you going to get a better deal on the ferries?
That's two questions, and there's a whole lot of other people here. Let's have some balance, all right?
Mr. Peters, can I ask you about the Ministerial Advisory Group and what they had to say? Because they're still talking about that you would still need to pay that break fee, which is now $300 million, as well as still being able to negotiate with Hyundai, which I know that you've just had that meeting. I mean, how do you feel about having to pay a break fee while still negotiating with the same people that you cancelled the ferries with in the first place?
How long have you been here? That's not a question, it's a ramble. And in September of last year, we released that information to you. So how come you take 6 months to absorb it and get it wrong?
If you go back
get it wrong. No, excuse me. The break fee is not just for the ferries, it's for the infrastructure that was being built around it as well. So it's much less than you say. In that context, if you relate it to ferries.
Mr. Peters, if you go back with Hyundai, is the break fee essentially negated if you decide that you will, in fact, do business with them?
Look, with respect, this is for the negotiations between KRL and Hyundai, and it's not for me to comment at this point in time.
How much of the $300 million do you anticipate the break fee to Hyundai being?
Look, we had to go through all the infrastructure. That much of it was being built, or some of it was being built. That's all part of the $300 million break fee, and when we've analysed that, we'll let you know.
So how much were the contracts that have been resolved with the port infrastructure upgrades? How much did they cost? Because presumably the remaining amount is the Hyundai break fee.
They were heading towards more than 400, it was heading towards more than 4 billion. So for every $1 on the ferry, $3 other were being costed out to the infrastructure. You see the problem we got here? So we're quietly and dispassionately sorting this thing out.
Yeah, but to be fair, that doesn't answer the question at all, Minister.
Yes, it does answer the question. Because
how much were the contracts with the port infrastructure businesses that have been resolved?
Well, I haven't got it on the top of my head at the moment because there's a whole lot of infrastructure. Some are 10% started, some are 90% started, some with the roof yet to go on. There's a whole lot of things that are being done at the moment in terms of sorting that out.
Do you know how much of the $300 million has already been described? How did it go?
It was an excellent meeting.
So
in what way?
Well, we had a very frank discussion. We know that they are seriously interested. We know what their time frames are, their capacity. They are the biggest shipbuilders in the world after all, and so it was a great meeting. But I've also had connections with even as far as Finland at this point in time, looking at other options.
And just in terms of time frame, what can you tell the public about when will we have an answer by the end of the month, and then how quickly will we?
You'll have the framework promised to you at the end of March this year, yes.
Mr. Peters, are you concerned that the Ministry of Primary Industries is no longer staffing Mark Patterson's office?
Look, with respect, you don't want to be sued on the defamation case, do you? My minister is utterly innocent, but nothing to do with him at all. And when we sort that out, we'll let you know. But it's nothing to do with him at all. And I think to use his name in such a context, when we're the only party that survived the Francis report, you recall, to have that is just so wrong.
Is it concerning
No, it's not concerning me, because shibboleths and deceit won't work in this game.
You've set a framework by the end of the month.
He's getting the right advice from a whole lot of people, including me.
Will we see a deal by the end of? A deal is very different to framework by the end. Are we going to see a deal by the end of this month that clearly indicates what the next steps are and when we can expect a new
what were you
ferry?
promised? You were promised the framework for the future deal by the end of March. 3 parts of that will be given to you. Yes, you'll get the information that you need.
Because people will say, sure, we'll get a framework at the end of March. When will we get the new ferry?
Look, I've seen 4 years of wasted time, and I've had about 4 weeks to sort it out if you take out a Christmas.